They stretched this thing out, and there were people, for 3, 4, 5 miles, no problem there. But, if they follow this route of MARTA stations, and they have a 3 or 4 mile parade, and have it along the MARTA route, so you might walk maybe 2 blocks from the MARTA station, but have 4, 5, 6 MARTA stations. They got plenty of them down there. But organization is the name of the game.
Absolutely. And again, everybody, keeps bringing up mayor, and I suppose I'm going to get talked to. Why are you coming down on the mayor? Well, at the end of the day, if he wants to be known as the head of the international city, then he better accept this responsibility. A, he didn't have enough police. B, he had no mounted police. C, there was absolutely no organization when you look at the crowd compared to the route. D, what's he doing taking all the accolades? I mean, I saw him on TV. It's a joke. Absolute joke.
Exactly.
Here's another idea. Now, we're talking about jokes and all these negatives. What do you think of this idea, Bob? They didn't want to have corporate sponsors, as I understand it. Now, I could be wrong. I thought there was some corporate sponsors, and then I didn't see a whole lot in. I mean, the thing kept changing every day.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, get some of these corporate sponsors to come in there and put a big fee in to be in the parade, and then that money can go to help the cleanup, security, what have you. I mean, that sounds like a pretty common sense idea, coming from a guy that went to public school.
Sure. Well, funny you mentioned that, because at Churchill Downs, I should say, in Louisville, that's exactly what they do. They have these huge corporate sponsors. They even have free stands along the way for the parade crowd, the fans, to be, getting freebies there.
Right, just like in a golf tournament. So I'll tell you what we should do, Bob. We should go ahead and send Mayor Maynard to Churchill Downs. Although, he's probably already been there. He gets around there on that city credit card. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he's already been there. Bob, I do appreciate your call. It's 10:18, and Westminster with my tongue deeper and bigger in my cheek on AM-750 WSB.
Atlanta's Morning News with Scott.
Well, that ought to be the theme song of tonight, I mean, we're trying to get to the warm-hearted issues, and Westminster on AM-750 WSB. And our own meteorologist Kirk Mellish says we're to be cool temps tonight with a low near 49 degrees, warming up tomorrow to 70. It's 58 right now in Cary and Lawrenceville. It's a first-time caller in the air everywhere. Hi.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm calling about the parade today. We're real proud of the Braves. But there's one thing. I've been to a parade in New Orleans. I think they need to make the route longer. I mean, you're looking at 500,000 people, and they're trying to squeeze them in a 1 mile. 1 mile. That's ludicrous.
Yeah, but you know why, Carrie? We did downtown like we did because they want to be like New York.
Well,
they want the high. Well, I know you know that. I know that. Phil knows that, but they don't know that.
I mean, people could have got killed. They do it for the Macy's parade. I have not been living here long. They do it for the Macy's parade. Children who would love to see it.
But that's not supposed. That's not a ticker tape. You see, somebody had the wild idea. Let's be like New York, where people can come out of the windows and throw ticker tape
out.
Well,
that's fine, but still make the route longer.
I hear you.
I mean, you're looking at 15, 30 people, even longer deep. That's crazy.
Okay, thanks for the call. Mike in Oxford, Georgia, on AM-750 WSB.
Hey, Wes, how you doing?
Real well, thanks.
I work downtown at 191 Peachtree.
Yes, sir.
And I watch the parade from the 3rd floor of the building.
It's a beautiful building, by the way. It's a brand new one there.
Oh, thanks. One thing I noticed was, like the lady just said, people are standing 10 or 15 people deep, all the way from International to Ellis. There were at least 5,000 people standing there. 2 police.
2 policemen.
That's all I saw. I was there from 11:15 till it ended.
And one of them may have been a mounted guy. He just didn't have
the guy without the horse, right?
By the way, can I, on a personal note, somebody called me from 191 Club and said, we really like to talk to you about membership and everything, and I was real interested. Hadn't heard back one word.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I had a nice lunch in there a couple of weeks ago and was inquiring. You know how I am on customer service.
Oh, yeah.
Beating the table on that customer service. But you do have a beautiful building.
Well,
if you happen to get in there and you see those folks, tell them I said hey.
I will.
All right, this is Tom in Roswell on AM 750 WSB. If you just joined us, getting your reactions to the parade, or as it's been said earlier, parade charade. Former Governor Jerry Brown joins us in the next half hour. Hello, Tom.
Hey, Wes. I'd just like to inject maybe a positive note.
Please.
This city has not had a real sports champion that we could really go after and cherish. And this is our first time. Maybe we don't know how to do it. But
it's not the first time for a parade.
Not first time for a parade, but it's first time for this many people in one area. And maybe we don't know how to do it. I'm not a terrible Maynard Jackson fan, but at least I do appreciate
the idea
to celebrate the fact that we had a winner.
Oh, I do too, and I think if that hasn't been clear, I've tried to bring that out today. That let's not lose sight of what the purpose was. But in the sense of everything, or the lack of the sense of everything, there's some real problems here.
There is real problems.
And you're hearing people say they go to, like this girl that called me this afternoon, she isn't going to go back to underground if they give away food.
Well, there have been a lot of negatives to this, but I think there are also things we can learn from it, and I think we have, obviously.
I think we're hearing it tonight, too. We're hearing about more police.
Well, let's look at it overall and think maybe we did, at least we shared some celebration with the people that really made this thing possible.
The Atlanta Braves.
We showed that we're all behind them. This is the first time I've ever seen this city, and I've been here 20 years, ever really have something to celebrate in terms of sports events. So I just think it's not, all I've heard from your calls tonight, and I've been listening to the last half hour, just really have been harping on the things that are not good and the things that are wrong. There are a lot of good things that happen today. I mean, I've passed cars on the road the last 2 weeks with tomahawks taped to their windshield wipers on the back of their cars.
I have too.
God, what excitement! Well, we've had something to live for a while.
But Tom, now I don't know if you were down there or not, but put yourself in the position of people that have been intimidated, physically pushed around, blocked from seeing the parade. I mean, these are real stories. These are not, people aren't just calling in to try to get on the pylon here. Okay, these are real stories, and then add to that some of the things, again, we're learning from. Why have to have every elected official in Fulton County has to be on the back of a car waving at people? We're not there to honor them. I mean, it was a joke to see some of these Fulton County commissioners, Miss Boxell sitting there waving hi. I thought we were honoring the Braves.
In that aspect, I couldn't agree with you more. That's absolutely
And so
ridiculous.
people have to, then they break out into a chant, "We want the Braves! We want the Braves!" And here goes your Fulton County delegation. I mean, it's a...
Hey, I did listen to the parade part of it on WSB today, and I heard nothing but raves and hurrays. And
oh, I did too. And I, by the way, I thought that Bob Cox, Scott, Dave Folk, Condis, and the gang did a terrific job. You bring up a good balance to this, and I appreciate that call.
Okay, thank you. Here.
Thank you. 1028 on AM-750 WSB. And Westminster, if you want to be on the show, it's easy, 872-0750. And I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me if they feel that George Bush, and we'll get more into this tomorrow night because I know we have a lot of parade talk, and we got Governor Jerry Brown coming in here within the next half hour. But, gosh, if the election was held, only 47% of the people would re-elect George? Yeah, I don't buy it.
Day after day, there's a taste that doesn't change. It's the coming taste of Rudy's Farm.
Time after time, you can count on Rudy's Farm for country fresh taste because we still make our sausage from our original 100-year-old recipe using only the finest cuts of pork, carefully blended with our unique mix of natural herbs and spices. So whether you start off your day with our tender, juicy patties or links, grab some quick and hearty sausage biscuits from the microwave, or try our big snack idea, 100% beef cheeseburger juniors, that great Rudy's Farm taste always comes through.
At Winn-Dixie, you'll find specials on your favorite Rudy's Farm products. So come and get more Rudy's Farm flavor this week at Winn-Dixie.
Every family has a holiday Maylocks moment story to tell. What's yours? Send us your holiday Maylocks moment story, and you could win a holiday dinner for 25 people and 2 round-trip airline tickets from anywhere in the continental United States to fly home a faraway family member for the holiday. Airline provided by American Airlines. Something special in the air. Additionally, 25 needy families will receive a holiday dinner from Maylocks. Send your story to 1601 West Peachtree, Atlanta, 30309. Entry deadline is November 18th. And remember, Maylocks now comes in mini tablets. Doctors recommend it.
Paramount Pictures presents a story about a little girl.
So, Hallie, I bet you want to be a ballerina when you grow up, huh?
Wait till I'm in 3rd grade. Then I'll pick a career.
A little fun.
I gotta go. We're gonna revive my grandmother and then open presents.
And a Christmas that's naughty and nice.
Now here's the deal, son. Whatever I say, just smile and nod.
All I Want for Christmas. Merry Christmas.
See, gotta believe.
Rated G. General Audiences. Starts Friday, November 8th in theaters everywhere.
I was in one of the stores the other day. They already got all their Christmas stuff, and it's not even Thanksgiving yet. AM-750 WSB, Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic station. Just after 10:30, and in the news center for a quick update of what's happening in our lives, here's Bob Glasscoff.
Not even Halloween yet. Thanks, Wes. Good evening. Atlanta Braves fans made it clear today the team is number one with them. A crowd estimated at 600,000 lined the downtown route for the 2-hour procession of bands, floats, marching units, politicians, and the players and their families. Police say it was more than an hour after the parade that an argument ended in gunfire on a crowded street corner near the MARTA 5-Point station. 3 people were wounded. 2 juveniles face aggravated assault charges. Arab radicals opposed to the Mideast Peace Conference in Madrid are claiming responsibility for a rocket that was fired at the U.S. Embassy compound in East Beirut, Lebanon today, caused slight damage. An anonymous caller to a news agency says the rocket symbolized rejection of what he called the sellout of the Palestinian cause by Arab regimes. President Bush and Soviet President Gorbachev, the conference sponsors, are expressing hope for a positive outcome. On the eve of the peace talks in Madrid, Mr. Gorbachev said he and Mr. Bush agreed to use all the remedies at their disposal to bring peace to the Mideast. Former Louisiana Governor Dave Treen says he'd vote for his longtime political enemy, Democrat Edwin Edwards, rather than for ex-Klansman David Duke in next month's gubernatorial runoff. Duke's running as a Republican against Edwards in the November 16th Louisiana election. And jury selection in the William Kennedy Smith rape trial in West Palm Beach, Florida has been postponed until Thursday. The judge in the case says she'll hear more arguments tomorrow over what, if anything, about the accuser's background can be used by the defense. AM-750 WSB News Center, time 10:32.
With more two-way talk, here's Wes Mitter. Going to Stone Mountain saying hi to Cheryl. How you doing?
How you doing, Wes? I'm fine.
I'm doing great, Cheryl.
Thank God I'm fine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was at the parade today.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I said when I saw the parade route in the paper was, this route is too short. The first thing that I said when I got downtown today, looking at the stretch of roadway in front of me, was, for some reason, this reminds me of Dallas. And
Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas, like where Kennedy was.
Oh, no.
And I knew when I said it, there was something I didn't like about it. Twice during our stand in the crowd, there were groups of people behind us yelling, a gun, a gun.
Oh, no.
And then screaming and surging by the crowd with elderly people and a child behind me that couldn't have been more than 3 feet tall. We finally got out of the crowd and went up to the 5-Point MARTA station where there were not one but 2 sprays of gunfire. People were literally hitting the concrete.
Yeah, you were there when you heard the gunfire there.
Yes, with my mother, who's in her 50s. And people who say that we're playing up the negative, I think they really don't know what we were involved in today. I can't say enough about the MARTA police at the 5-Point station. They made a perimeter around their territory, and they took care of it.
I heard about this, though. Somebody told me that later, after they had cordoned the area off and they were looking for things, whatever they do in their routine inspection, that there were some young punk kids who were walking through there, and the police says, hey, you can't go through there, and they just disobeyed them. It's like, oh, yeah? Yeah, okay, yeah, your mom, yeah.
Yeah, they were like that.
You know, I don't know. What happened to civility?
I don't know.
It's just been thrown down the sewer.
It ruined my day today.
That's too bad.
But
this idea, go back to the point where you're standing there on the side of the street and somebody starts screaming, gun, gun. I don't know if they're serious. You know, who knows nowadays?
No, you don't, and you can't see.
Or they're trying to make a joke.
I really don't think the crowd would have been that tense if they could only see. You could hear from the back row yelling, front row, sit down. They would count to 3 and then yell. And then, I only want to get up there. I only want to get across the street. And you just could not move in there. It was way too thick. And I noticed that after the shooting started and so forth, the Atlanta police were just taken by surprise. They were in a reactionary mode at that point. They were running this way, running that way, chasing every pointed finger that went up, you know. And they definitely did not have enough people on the streets today.
Well,
and
I think that's coming through.
There were babies and mothers and elderly people, even invalids.
That's coming
wheelchairs.
through loud and clear tonight, Cheryl, that we just didn't have the police officers there. And I hope if there's police officers listening, perhaps even somebody down in Mayor Maynard's office, that they might, I hope they're taking some notes, and I appreciate your call. Denise, right here in the city, a first-time caller on AM-750 WSB. Hi.
Hi, Wes. How are you?
Just good, pretty good, thanks.
I was at the parade today, too. I was at Peachtree and Harris, which was supposedly close to the top of the route.
Uh-huh, that's right.
And came up from Peachtree Center, and I walked up those escalators that weren't working, too.
Did you hear the lady who called them, and then they started them, and they went backwards, went in reverse?
Yes, thankfully I didn't have to go through anything like that. I thought it was bad enough. I'm not really in the greatest of shapes, I found out, and huffing and puffing by the time you get to the top of those escalators. But really, I was amazed at really that there weren't more people hurt or any bad things that happened. I got kind of amused at how many people would say, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch you." It's like, I understand.
Mm-hmm. You know? I am too. With this kind of crowd and all the stories we're having and the parade charade stories and the nightmares, all that we didn't have more. But I'll tell you, we have a lot to learn from this, and not least of which, I think two things come to my mind. First of all, parents who for some reason let their kids run wild. You know, and we talk about this all the time. I talk about it till I turn into a lollipop, and it still happens. And secondly, city officials need to spend time running this city and understanding things and not trying to be little New York.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder. Of course, they probably thought they knew how to do parades since other parades have been run in Atlanta before.
If a parade committee were to grade this parade today and all the fiascos surrounding it, I would dare say it would get a C best.
Yeah.
Because of all the things you're hearing about and seeing.
And some of the suggestions I've heard sound good. Definitely longer route, a route that's off the MARTA route, at least a block, if possible.
Well, let's not lose sight again why we had the parade.
Right.
Again, to honor our great Atlanta Braves. And they're so close to the crowd. I mean, I saw all those pictures on TV, the scenes on TV where they broke through the barricades and went right up to the cars.
Yeah,
that's pretty dangerous.
If they'd had the guys up on floats or flatbeds or something so people could see them, I don't think they would have felt like they had to break through to get to them. Because you could hardly even see who was coming by. Everybody was in the convertibles and so forth.
And of course, the crowd's in a mob mode.
Right, which changes everything completely. And one thing I haven't heard anybody say is, why in the world do they have vendor tables on the route?
Makes sense, huh?
Why? Because we've got people behind us yelling, move in, fill in that gap.
Or somebody was thrown, they did a body slam, they land on top of the vendor table.
The vendors didn't belong on there. They could have kept them on the side street.
Oh, tell City Hall that, Denise.
They did not belong. When you could have put 3 more people deep right where that table was.
I appreciate your call, dear.
Okay.
Call us again, 19 away from 11 o'clock.
Might as well face it, you're addicted to wear. Might as well face it, you're addicted to wear. Might as well face it, you're addicted to wear. Might as well face it, you're addicted to wear.
We go to Dayton, Ohio. This is Rich calling us toll-free in the air everywhere on WSB Radio.
Good evening, Wes.
Hi, Rich.
I was going to talk about President Bush's popularity.
Yeah, we got that out here. I'm reading all these stories, and I'm trying to figure out if this is really how America feels.
Well, last January, February, probably the most popular president of modern time was President Bush.
Sure.
And how quickly that's turned since we're not in the war situation anymore.
President Bush did not use, in my opinion, the victory in the Middle East to his advantage politically.
And the economy's problems have superseded that. And I sort of feel like presidential popularity is just a barometer of people's national feelings. And the country seems a little bit down right now.
Well, now, why do you elect a president? Do you elect a president on the basis of his ability to keep you out of foreign wars and to keep our country safe from intruders? Or do you elect a president to keep interest rates down?
Well, you got to personally, I elect the president for leadership. I think our interest rates and our general economic problems right now, when you've got the federal government setting the worst example that you could set for how to run a business, running a deficit that's so large, really people can't, it's very difficult to understand or have a feel for how big a problem that's going to be for us. And I think people right now are starting to forecast economic gloom and collapse from just the deficit problems.
Well, last week, a poll taken by ABC News and the Washington Post found that only 47% of those polled would vote to re-elect the president. Now, that's less than the majority. And if they came to you, how would you have voted in that poll?
I'd go ahead and support President Bush. He's doing the things I elected him for. I don't think the executive branch is going to have a real dynamic and strong effect on the overall economy when you've got the legislative branch doing such a good job at keeping us in a deficit mode. We're going to have to address that one of these days. It's going to catch up with us.
I do agree with you on that, and that's the red flags I'm talking about around the White House.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rich.
All righty.
Glad to have you listening up there in Ohio. 872-0750, Chuck in Alpharetta. You're on AM-750 WSB at 1044. Hi.
Yes, Wes, you just, not the call from Dana, but the woman previous, you had touched on. There's 2 points that I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
First, being an underground owner down there in the underground itself, I don't know how many more events it's going to take before maybe the city is going to learn that you need to have visible security and visible protection when you have large events like this. We had the opening when we had 2 million people go through in 4 days. We had the Olympic celebration, the Olympic parade. We had the Evander Holyfield. The 4th of July with the Free Martyr Ride has always been a total disaster since it's been there because you have everyone that comes from under a rock. They can jump on the train and come down.
For free.
For free. And today was just another example where we had groups of senior citizens on tour buses that had gotten out into the underground to see it right when the parade was over. And I think their experience was one that they would tend to forget because they would come up to me and say, is it always like this when you come in here? Because kids were running, women were getting knocked off the sidewalk because they couldn't see the curb, old people were getting their purses stolen. And I'm not trying to give underground a bad rap. I love it. It's a great place. But things like that, you need to have visible security because people that come from the areas that aren't used to it, they're going to say, hey, we went down there and, I don't know if I want to go back and this and that.
Well, this girl that called me this afternoon, and it was a group of 8 of them.
Right.
And she just said they were standing there, and there were kids, and I mean, not just kids. We're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds, is what she guessed, who are jumping around people, intimidating them, then running on, and I mean, I can see somebody visiting this town and going there because they hear about underground.
Sure.
And they come away and say, God, is this what it's always like?
Right, because they're not used to the crowds and what happens when you have large masses.
Exactly.
And my second point is maybe a suggestion to the parade thing. I think maybe if we have it on a weekend or a Saturday. And my point is this: I think the majority of the kids that I had to chase out of my store weren't down there to see the parade. They were down there because they didn't have to go to school today, and it was a reason for them not to be in school.
Yep.
If you had it on a Saturday, they would say, they don't have to be in school, so instead of going downtown, let's go cause trouble at the local.
Hey, man, I'm with you on the Saturday thing, but I hear people tell me, well, the reason they don't do it on Saturday is because nobody will come down.
Well, no, I think that's a better alternative because you don't have people that have to be in work, that can't see it. The traffic on the highways isn't going to be as bad. Your rush hours and shutting the streets down at 8 o'clock in the morning isn't going to be a problem.
Let me ask you, Chuck, as a business owner, by the way, what's the name of your business down there? You want to give it a plug?
Rather not.
Okay, you don't have to. I just, a lot of people down there, I understand the business is struggling, and that leads me to this question for you. We talked about Bush and the economy and popularity and all that. How has your business, has it been a struggling year for you?
Compared to the initial opening where you had millions of people, which you kind of have to put that aside because you're not going to have that many people coming through the underground. But, all right, the business it's gone down from last year at this time, and then it's gone down considerably more at this point. And, you contribute to, our war situation and the economy and this and that. But you just don't see the number of people coming through the underground as anticipated, not just from me, but I talked to other merchants that I know, and they don't see it either. And a lot to do with I think the convention business is down a little bit too this year, and that's a big part of our draw because you're not going to get the local traffic, on a daily basis because they're just not going to come down there every day, which is understandable. So it is hurting right now. And this is usually our toughest part of it right before the holidays, after Labor Day and before Thanksgiving. So
yeah, well, you got Halloween coming up.
But the Braves gave us a pretty good boost for the last month with the crowds in the game, so that helped a lot too.
I appreciate your call, Chuck.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. 872-0750, the number for you to get hit on the air. That's right, you can make a hit on the air on AM-750 WSB in Westminster. Thanks so much for listening.
Listen for your chance to win a fabulous evening out, starting with dinner at Mara's Seafood Grill on Cheshire Bridge Road. Then you're off to the Atlanta Ballet's performance of a high-energy rock ballet featuring Tom Gross and the Varsity Live, November 7th through the 9th. And go by any Ticketmaster outlet and mention AM-750 WSB and receive 50% off the Friday, November 8th performance of this Atlanta Ballet show. I'm Garo McKee, Hometown Radio Show, afternoons 4 to 7, and that's what's happening on AM-750 WSB.
History-making medical discoveries are generally the result of years spent in a laboratory, of personal sacrifices made in the name of science. But today, if you suffer from arthritis, you can make a medical discovery of your own the moment you try eucalyptus ointment. You'll discover the possibility of pain relief without pills. Now, without a pill, you can ease your stiff and sore joints. And without a pill, you can get relief. You see, eucalyptus' unique formula penetrates fast for deep arthritis pain relief. It dilates tiny capillaries, increasing blood flow with oxygen and nutrients, and helps relieve pain around the joint. Eucalyptus is so effective, you may find yourself depending on pills less and less. Scientists wait a lifetime to make a discovery that may help millions. Your discovery happens the moment you try eucalyptus. Eucalyptus ointment helps eliminate the pain, and quite possibly the pain relief.
I was worn out, and then we capped it off with this fiasco parade thing yesterday. God. Yeah. So we're back this afternoon, the hometown. Excuse me. Hi. So the hometown radio show, 4 to 7 tomorrow afternoon with Gary McKee. Sure, we'll all be bitching about the parade still, and jingles and commercial stuff you can't get out of your mind. I've fallen and can't get up, that kind of thing. Now more from Wes Minter on Atlanta's News Weather and Traffic Station, AM-750 WSB.
You know, I was just looking at the final game of the World Series game on TV. In Atlanta, we had a 58.2 rating, 74 share. Get this. And that's about 840,635 households. In Minneapolis, it earned a 66.2 rating, 84 share, 10 points higher on the share rating, and 892,959 homes. 892,959 homes. So about another 60,000 homes more were watching the game in Minneapolis than here, according to Nielsen. 83 million people watched it across the nation. Oh, and by the way, Channel 2's replaying the parade. Did you see that? You can watch the parade 3 in the morning for the next 3 days. If you didn't get enough of the parade, if you didn't get enough of today's parade, you can catch it over here on Channel 2 at 3 in the morning. Tomorrow morning, and the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. Curtis and Tequila, you're on AM-750 WSB.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
I'd first of all like to thank the Braves for having such an outstanding season, giving us such a...
Curtis, I'm going to have to ask you, we're going to have to, let me put you on hold and see, can you change phones? Because your phone is really clicking bad, man. See if you can change phones. We'll get back to you. We'll put you on hold. Jim in Duluth, hi, you're in the air.
How you doing, Wes?
Okay, sir.
I don't think I was standing too far from where Denise about 5 callers earlier was. I was in front of Brooks Brothers on a little slant, so I had a slight advantage over some people.
Uh-huh.
And, there's a slant from the street up to the door of Brooks Brothers, and
The old Brooks Brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, which is directly across from the Merchandise Mart.
Right.
On Peachtree.
Right.
And I could see when the crowd went out, even on the slant, you couldn't tell who was coming by from like 15, 20 deep in that line, number one. Number two, I was standing next to a woman who works for Delta, and we're both Atlanta natives. We were tall. We both got there about 10:45. We ran into each other getting off the train and going up that long escalator.
Everybody's in shape from walking up that 200-foot escalator.
Absolutely. I haven't run in a month. I've been working on a house, and that got me in shape in one day. And first thing we wondered about was where were the Mounties?
Right.
Next thing, I think I know what happened. I think I know why there weren't enough police out there.
Why?
What were the estimates this morning that you heard on the radio? 3 to 5?
About 300,000.
300,000, which would be half again of what the crowd was for the Olympic parade last year. Wasn't that 200,000?
So you're saying they were trying to put numbers in there and say, well, we didn't need them, so we won't have them.
I think they were playing a numbers game.
Well, that's what somebody said. He was talking to a Mountie who was on the ground, and the Mountie told him that we didn't think we'd have this kind of crowd.
Right. They were playing a numbers game. They were figuring 3 to 5, and they were probably going with 3.
Yeah.
I have since heard the estimate this afternoon as I was leaving was 6, and I thought that was a low ball.
Mm-hmm.
I've since heard 8, and I think that's more like it.
800,000.
My guesses were 750 to 9. Now,
unless somebody's up in a helicopter.
Right, I know, it's hard to tell.
It is.
Okay, switch over. Leaving the parade, MARTA Station, Peachtree Center. After the crowd about 2 in the afternoon waits through about 3 or 4 full trains of people who are bailing out of 5 Points before the corral hits, or the wilding gangs, and
everybody.
I see that. Then I see, and I saw references in the evening paper to police worried about wilding in the 5 Points area. At Peachtree Center, meanwhile, all of a sudden an empty train comes, and I'm 3 deep again, right where the door is, and all of a sudden you feel this surge coming at you.
Right, pushing you forward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I want to take any credit. I think this is one of these surge of adrenaline deals where I basically took the charge and just pushed with my back and shoulders back. And stopped the charge, and somebody about 5 feet away saw what I had done and screamed bloody murder, and that stopped everything.
All right. Yeah, Jim.